Hello and welcome back to another episode of the On the Sideline podcast with Jackson and Kyle. I am Jackson, and I'm joined here, as always, by the man who has never won a weekly pick'em show yet. Kyle, how are you doing?
I was good until that felt a little rude.
I
That
threw I
was a
threw
little
yet at the end. Not saying you're never gonna win it.
that felt a little mean spirited to start the first show of our NFL football season. We've been going all off season, but we're here now. It's the real season. We're ready to go. Everybody except for Cardinals fans is excited for this.
Yes, I think that's true. Hey, Kyle, if you don't want me to start the show off, all you gotta do is win this year.
All right. Well, the target is on your back now, so you better watch out, man. I'm trying extra hard this year.
Okay, well, we'll see. This is the year. I'm a Kyle Truther. We'll see if this is the year. If you're new here, if this is the first time you've seen this show, we've been doing this for a couple years now. What? This has been our is this our fourth year doing this, Kyle?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. So the way this works is that we're going to pick a game for the other person to then have to pick. So we each only pick half of the football games. We're going to go draft style to decide. That determines who ends up. Picking which game. We also have a lock of the week, which you'll figure out how that works once we get there. It's a point system and it's cumulative throughout the whole season. You'll understand it once we get going. But it's always a fun time.
Yeah, it's always a fun time. It gives us a chance to break down every game for the year.
Mm-hmm.
We're not just talking about the big games. We're not just talking about the big teams. We talk about all 32 teams. So that's what makes us the best. That's why we make the big bucks.
Yeah. So why don't we just jump into it? Kyle, as always, you lost last year, meaning that this means that you will get to choose. You will get to give me a game first. You will get to pick first. That's how we do this. So why don't you, unless you have any other, beginning points, why don't we just jump into it?
No, just another dig at me, so that's fine. We're starting this off with the bang. This is an intriguing game. I think I have game number one. I think both of these teams are interesting. I think this game is, we have a home dog, but I think they're intriguing. So I'm going to give you Cincinnati at Cleveland week one.
Okay, interesting. There's a lot of fascinating games that you can go with throughout. A lot of close spreads. I'm picking Cincinnati to win this one. I think that Cincinnati is. I think they're a better team. And you know what? Starting off with bang, let's just do it. Let's jump into the season on a hot note. Lock up. I'm going to lock up the Bengals here. I'm going to lock up the Cincinnati Bengals to cover the 2.5 points because I just feel like we still have barely seen any Deshaun Watson. The whole thing that everyone kept saying last year was don't forget about the small sample size because he was rusty. Well, he didn't play hardly any preseason this year either. So, why am I to believe that he's going to week one be back to Houston Deshaun Watson? I think that he would have to be that good, to win this one potentially. Because again, Cincinnati's a very good team. You picked them to get the 1 seed, and only 2.5 points. So all I have to do is win by a field goal. I'm locking it up. And again, if you're new here, the way the lock of the week works is you have to lock one team. If they cover the spread, or if they're an underdog, if they just straight up win, then you get a point taken off of your total. If it goes wrong, then you get 2 points added to your total, and the goal is to get the least amount of points. But yeah, Kyle, your thoughts on this game?
I'm intrigued in a lot of this different aspects. Like you said, the Watson situation is one of the most intriguing storylines of the NFL season because, like we talked about during our AFC North preview, they've invested $250 million in a quarterback, and that quarterback, in a small sample size, performed like a bottom 5 quarterback. That's a bad investment so far, I would say. So you give it, you take it with a grain of salt. I guess the one thing you could say is he obviously couldn't practice during the season. That played a part in it, I think. So yes, he didn't play in the preseason last year either, but he also couldn't practice. So I think that maybe did it, maybe did a number if you're believing in the Deshaun Watson was rusty category, which I think I'm willing to entertain. But I just think both of these teams are interesting. I think Cincinnati is breaking in a new secondary too, which I think is going to have some questions. Maybe this secondary isn't as good in week 1 as they are going to be in like week 12, 13, or maybe later in the season. There's a few new faces in that book, a few new faces on this offensive line. How does that work in? And then not to mention Joe Burrow, has been hurt this preseason. So, similarly to, Watson, had all those variables last season. Joe Burrow is going into this season with all those variables. I still think he's going to be really good because it is Joe Burrow, but is he a little rusty week 1 just because he wasn't able to get that training camp in that he needed?
Yeah, all fair points. It is, what makes week 1 so difficult to predict is the fact that we just don't know or valuing teams on paper. I would say, though, that I'm not as concerned about the Bengals secondary in this game necessarily because, we kind of talked about it in the preview. I think one of Cleveland's issues is secondary receivers. And that's kind of our concern with the Bengals secondary. Isn't necessarily having stars, it's more about depth. I don't know if Cleveland can fully take advantage of that either. I think Cleveland's going to try to run the ball a lot. They're going to try to limit possessions and steal the game that way. And even we'll see. It can be an effective strategy. I just don't know if it's going to. I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah, Nick Chubb and this monster Cleveland offensive line against DJ Reader is a pretty fun matchup,
Yeah.
if you're into that sort of thing. So that'll be an intriguing part of that game for sure. And then, like you said, there's been some preseason. I do read preseason. I don't watch a lot of preseason. There's been some preseason hype on Cedric Tillman. There's been some, maybe this is an Elijah Moore, breakout season sort of talk. Can one of these guys become a consistent number 2 guy for this team? That's the biggest question they've been looking for.
Yeah. We'll see. I like the idea of reading. So you're reading I'm assuming reading articles about preseason.
Yeah, pretty much training camp stuff.
That's like reading preseason. I'm imagining you're just reading the play-by-plays of the preseason game.
Yeah, just scripting it out myself. I like it.
Yeah, you got the script ahead of time, and that's what you just read that.
Yeah. I mean, I know all these answers in advance. That's why I'm winning this league this season.
Yeah,
I got the script.
Okay, well, we'll seems like it could be unfair. Let's move on. I'm giving you the real game of the week, Bills Jets. This is the one we're all looking forward to. I don't want to pick this game. I'm glad. I thought this was a slam dunk first overall pick, so I'm glad to give it to you here at number 2.
Yeah, this was number 2 on my list. So good pick by you. I'm gonna lean on the Buffalo Bills to get this done. I need to see this Jets thing work first, right? I want to see it work. There are some concerns for Buffalo. We talked a lot about Buffalo and, some of our concerns, like Von Miller's not going to be in for this game. How is this defense ready? This would be the game you kind of want Miller for, to take advantage of the bad Jets offensive line, and you don't really get that opportunity week 1 of the season. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for him. But I am still going to lean Buffalo. I still think there's enough pieces here that they're dangerous, and Josh Allen is still Josh Allen, so I think he gets it done.
Yeah, I mean, and you also have to factor in the Aaron Rodgers doesn't play in the preseason era, so usually there's going to be a little bit of rust. He did play a little bit of preseason, but he played only a couple drives. So what is the connection going to be with his teammates? There's probably going to be some rust there. I think I agree that I want to see it with the Jets. We've seen the Bills consistently be a championship contender, even if they keep falling short in the postseason. So I agree. I have the Bills also, but again, it's just one of those things where it's I think kind of the more fascinating question is just what are we going to see out of the Jets?
Yeah.
I think if even the Jets lose this, there's totally a scenario where the Jets lose this 31-30 and feel great about how they feel, and there's a chance where they win 30-10. That's also on the table.
Yeah, it'd be really funny if they lost 42-14, and it was it's week 1 Aaron Rodgers again. That would be pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I think
you're playing with house money right now for the Jets. No matter what you lose by, you'll say, week 1, what the Bills did it to the Rams last year. Well, I guess that didn't work out too well for the Rams, but the Bills can do it to people, and also but yeah, go ahead.
I'm just interested in this atmosphere. It's going to be Monday night in New York or New Jersey, wherever they are now. In New Jersey. When is the last time the Jets fans, I don't know if everyone puts them in this category, but there are a number of Jets fans who now revere this team as a Super Bowl contender. And I think, we say the best case scenario of the Jets is a Super Bowl team.
Hmm.
When is the last time the New York Jets have had a Super Bowl caliber football team that they could get excited about? I mean, there's got to
Yeah,
be some
that's
real pressure there, isn't there?
yeah. I don't know, like 19 since 1969, maybe. I don't know.
Huh.
I mean, I guess they had the years with Mark Sanchez, but even that still felt like they were sort of a unique team. Yeah, I don't know because I'm thinking like big Monday night football games. I believe the Sam Darnold's first game was on Monday night, if I remember correctly, where he had threw a pick six and then had a great game and they beat the Lions. Didn't end up working out too well for Sam Darnold, but that was exciting. But yeah, I remember this. I went through basically a very similar situation as a Tampa Bay fan, seeing Tom Brady come
Mhm.
to town. Like it's a lot of fun. It's a great
Yeah.
time to have something like this happen. So and that didn't go too well for Tom Brady in Week 1.
Yeah. It did not. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how this goes. I wouldn't be surprised if it also takes a week just in general.
Hmm.
They're still working in, if you just look at their skill guys, the new skill guys on the Jets right now, Aaron Rodgers, Dalvin Cook, Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, McCole Hardman Jr. Um, I think that's just about it. But that's still, probably four of your five or six potential guys in skill position department for this week. I mean, that's a lot to account for, including Rodgers.
Yeah. Luckily, though, if things go poorly for the Jets, the nice New York media will be very forgiving to them.
Yeah, there won't be any disaster articles if they lose this one.
No, yeah, the sky will not be falling. It should be a fun game. I'm looking forward to that one. It was a thumbnail game for a reason. Kyle, where are you going here? Well, with the third game chosen.
Um, Not as fun of a game. Carolina, Atlanta.
Okay, this is not a bad game though. There's intrigue here with the. I like this pick. I think this is a game that could go either way. I've been kind of. I don't know. I've been bearish on the entire NFC South this off season, but I think even more so with Atlanta than some other people are. I've seen people picking Atlanta to win the division. I don't. I don't trust their quarterback situation. Not to say I trust a rookie in Bryce Young, but I trust that more than a Desmond Ritter led offense right now. There's talent on both these teams. I don't know if there's a ton of talent on either of these teams. Give me Carolina though. I think they're still a team that I don't know. I get it. Atlanta's going to try and run the ball a lot. I think that's not the best way to attack this Panthers defense. I don't think that's the preferred strategy to win this one. And I do think that with a potentially good secondary in Atlanta, I still think there's going to be defensive issues and kind of holes over the middle that Young can fit through, even without the great receiver talent. So it's a game that could go either way. If I'm betting on this, I bet on if I'm betting on this, I definitely bet on Carolina. But if it was like I don't know. If the point totals were flipped and Carolina was a 3-point favorite, I'd be betting on Atlanta.
So who did you pick?
Carolina.
Carolina. Okay. I was leaning Atlanta in this game. I don't know, man. I just think they're better, and Carolina is one of those preseason team, or the preseason talk has not been exactly flattering for them.
Hmm.
There are some intriguing things with this Carolina team. Obviously, we're all excited to see what Bryce Young can do, but I have a hard time seeing guys get open. Like
Hmm.
I just think if they're not getting open, then this team's in trouble, and I think they could be in trouble. Now, granted, this isn't the best secondary, but it could be an improved secondary. It really could be because you're looking at guys like AJ Terrell bounce back season potentially, Jesse Bates big money signing. Jeff Okuda was solid, not spectacular, but now he goes into a new role here. Maybe it's better for him. Maybe it's kind of a second career move for him. So I think there's some intrigue there watching this Atlanta defense. But yeah, I just don't know if Carolina's going to be able to keep up with them in this game. I have some questions about the Panthers heading into this season. We did the preseason preview. I was much lower on them than you were because of those issues, even if they are solid up front. The Derek Brown, Shy Tuttle, Brian Burns, that group is good. I have questions about everything else on this roster almost.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I had both these teams winning 6 games. Like, I'm not too high on either of them, but yeah,
Yeah,
I think that it should be a feeling out game. I do think this game might be over in like 2.5 hours. I think these teams are going to run the ball a lot.
I would say so too. Um, I'm excited for Bijan. I guess that's the most intriguing part of this game for
Yeah.
me. Bijan
Uh-huh.
Robinson going against this team.
And
And
Bryce
it's
Young. So I want to see what he does.
yeah, I'm more excited for Bijan. But Bryce Young, I mean, I'm
Well,
excited for
because
Bryce Young
you're
too.
already convinced he's the next Derrick Henry. You've already got
The
the
next
rookie
Derrick
card.
Henry, he's the next Walter Payton. No, I'm just
Okay, yeah, we're selling him short
uh,
with Derrick Henry.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of intrigue here. There's,
Hmm.
the Bryce Young of it all, how is, you know, I drafted Kyle Pitts in fantasy football. I'd like to
Oh,
see him used this year. Um, I'm betting on a little bit of a bounce back season. How does this play action passing game work with Ritter? Is he able to run this offense? I mean, it it feels like it should be easy for him, right? Like I know he's not the best,
hmm,
but like he should be able to like if it feels like if he's not performing at like a top 24 quarterback level, then he shouldn't be in the league next year. Cuz this should be so easy. You just look at this roster. It's a loaded offensive line. It's loaded at pass catcher. They have three good running backs. It feels like he should be at a minimum top 24 quarterback.
yeah, but I mean, are we gonna? He certainly wasn't that last year. So
Yeah.
we'll see how. Obviously, very young in his career, but expecting a lot out of a third rounder. But I did like him coming out of the draft. So we'll see. Let's move on. Why don't we? I'm gonna give you. Uh, let's go with. I think this is a fascinating one. Titans at Saints. I was a little surprised to see the Saints be 3-point favorites, although I guess at home kind of makes sense. Usually they give you 3 points for being the home team. Kyle, where are you going here?
Titans. This feels like house money for me. I like this matchup. I
Are
think
you
they're
gonna lock it
gonna.
up?
I'm not gonna lock it up. I'm gonna stay a little disciplined here. I just like them against the front. Like I still think New Orleans strengthened their defense. I mean, Cameron Jordan's still pretty good. Even at his age, he's still doing great stuff. But I
Hmm.
feel like the strength of this Saints defense is their secondary. They still got Tyrann Matthew, Marcus May, Marshawn Lattimore when he's good. And I do think DeAndre Hopkins can be a good matchup for him. Just when you look at talent. Um, but I have questions about their defensive line overall outside of Jordan. And I think Tennessee is going to go in there to try and beat them up. I know Tennessee's offensive line is not good, but they just kind of figured this stuff out. So I'm going Tennessee here.
See, the weird thing is, I agree. I also picked Tennessee, but I feel like you brought up my biggest concern about picking Tennessee is the fact that their offensive line versus the Saints defensive line. I agree. There's issues on the Saints defensive line, but isn't this just what you say? Just figure it out. Don't the Saints like every time they go up against a bad offensive line, like just feel like they're in the backfield the whole game?
Yeah, they could. It's very
Hmm.
possible. I mean, they still got talented players, but I don't. I mean, the tough thing with playing Tennessee is they just don't let you be in the backfield because you're chasing the running back the whole time, and then they throw the play action on you when you least
Yeah.
expect it, right? Like, I mean,
Hmm.
that's the beauty of how this offense has been run for. How long is this Vrabel Tannehill era gone with Derrick Henry? I mean, and now with the preseason hype for Tyjae Spears, if it's Derrick Henry and Tyjae Spears running the ball, Tannehill out of play action. I mean, that's going to be tough to stop.
Yeah, I still think that I think I agree where it's like, kind of historically the way the Saints like to play their defense is they play two safety deep coverages and hope that they can, stop the run well enough in doing that. And usually they have success doing it, but probably can't do that in this game. And I do think I'm interested, like what is Hopkins gonna do against Lattimore, right? Like what are they gonna be able to
Hmm.
do on the outside? The other aspect that we have to bring up is Derek Carr. I feel like we kind of almost forgot about Derek Carr being on the Saints. I feel like we haven't talked about that
Yeah.
in forever. Where it's like that's a very interesting storyline. Some years that's the most interesting week one storyline. This was a very we've seen a lot more quarterback changes the past few years, but like that's not common that a franchise quarterback changes teams.
Yeah. No, I agree. And this is it is interesting that, right after he got his extension, he got his boy in Devontae Adams, and then a year later they're cutting bait.
Hmm.
Not even a year
Yeah.
later. They were ready to cut bait with him before the season even ended.
Right.
So now he's here, and I mean, there are some intriguing things here when it comes to New Orleans. I mean, like, well, you have this Chris Olave, and for right now, Michael Thomas is healthy. Like, if we see a Michael Thomas that we remember, this is a good pass catching core.
Yeah.
Obviously, they don't have Alvin Kamara for this game, but they have, Jamal Williams was a good signing, I thought, for them. So this could be a pretty interesting team if Derek Carr is able to bounce back. But similarly, they also have defensive line issues. The only difference is their defensive line issues are in the interior. And there's this guy named Jeffrey Simmons who might be a top 8 defensive player in football right now.
Mhm.
So that's a problem.
Yeah, that helps. That makes some depth issues not so much of an issue. This feels like a complete wild card game for me. I think I could see, these are two. I feel like the Saints are one of the biggest wild cards in the league, and the Titans are a pretty big wild card too. So this is what makes Week 1 so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean there are some really good matchups. Trying to rank some of these. I'm surprised I'm surprised we've been so lockstep so far because I had some trouble with some of these teams going forward.
Yeah, the closest line still hasn't been chosen yet. Next up, Kyle, why don't you give me a game?
Um, I feel really stupid putting this one here. This feels way too high. But like, I don't know. Like, I just keep looking at it. Like, is is Patrick Mahomes really just gonna beat this team without his best offensive and defensive player? Like, I know quarterback wins isn't a thing, but at the same time, like, there's I, it feels insane that they're gonna win without this. So, where are you picking Lions at Chiefs?
I'm picking Chiefs. I think I don't hate I don't hate this. I don't think this is a reach. I don't. I think that picking this here is understandable because, like I said, if the Chiefs have everyone, it's different. I just think Mahomes is still Mahomes, and Andy Reid is still Andy Reid. That's still going to work out very well. I think the Lions secondary is going to take a minute. I don't think it's going to get good right away. Yes, on paper it looks good. I think it's going to take some time. Now is not when you want to have to test it. Now is not a get things together game. The Chiefs thrive off of confusion, off of getting guys to not know exactly what each other are doing in the secondary. All these new pieces working together with Andy Reid coming to town. That's just that's a dangerous situation. And Mahomes, he's always great, but he's especially great week 1. Andy Reid is especially great when he has time to prepare. So I get it. And I still think that, I like the Chiefs defense a pretty good deal. I think
Yeah.
that, that might be an underrated unit. Yes, without losing Chris Jones hurts, but they're still a very good team. And they have the best player in the world. So give me Kansas City.
I think I do agree with you.
Oh,
It's going to be
I can't hear you. I'm not sure if you're muted or if my headphone is being weird. 1 second.
Can you hear me?
Chat, let me know if you can hear. Okay, it might be a me thing. I think my headphone might be being weird.
Huh.
Sorry,
Yeah,
1
I think
second.
it's you. I don't have anything on my end.
Okay, I can hear you now.
All right, there we go. We're good. All right, so we're back. What was I saying? I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit can move the ball in Kansas City in this game. I think our biggest worry for Kansas City heading into this season, defensively at least, was their pass rush, and they don't have their best defensive lineman. So,
Yeah.
I think that is going to be a concern. And if Jared, we have had our debates about Jared Goff this offseason, no doubt about that.
hmm
But if Jared Goff can just stand back there and throw, I think he's going to have a lot of success, especially with, what they've done with this skill position group. I think they're going to be okay there with Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield. David Montgomery as that secondary back. That offensive line is awesome. I think they're going to be
hmm
able to get after them a little bit, but it's just hard to envision beating Kansas City. I'm interested to see what this looks like, though. There's not many games you can draw from for Kelsey being injured,
hmm
and so Kelsey, if he's not able to go, that's a big thing because obviously that's the security blanket to this Kansas City offense is having him over the middle. I also think there's like little things like Jody Fortson is kind of a big red zone guy for them. And not only that, they don't have Kelsey, which is, now they're down to Noah Gray and Blake Bell. Maybe I'm looking into that a little more than I should. But, it just you start chipping at the pieces for a group that we already like don't necessarily love the skill position group for Kansas City. It's just that Patrick Mahomes is awesome. So I'm a little concerned about all this. But that being said, I'm picking Kansas City at home on ring night. I think they're going to be fine. But there are some intriguing things to look at now that we're getting closer to this, and the injuries are piling up.
Yeah, it'll be definitely an interesting game. I'm looking, and it's tomorrow. Kyle, there's a football game on tomorrow.
I know. Real NFL action. Let's do it.
Yeah, real football is on. Uh, okay, Kyle. I'm gonna give you a game now. That's the way that this works. I'm back and forth between the couple that I think are fascinating. But I think that the one. Let's go. Why don't we go Dolphins Chargers here? The Chargers favored in this game. You know who I would be picking if I was the one picking this game with how high I am on Miami. Where are you going?
I'm with you. I am taking Miami here. Um, I thought about locking this up. I think I'm going to stay disciplined on this one again. Um, I don't see it unless this Chargers defense shows something that they haven't shown. I think Miami's going to find a way to pick them apart. Honestly, um, and I'm excited to see this Miami defense against Justin Herbert in this Chargers offense. I'm excited to see Kellen Moore calling the plays for this Charger offense. There's a lot of intriguing stuff on that side of the ball, but I mean, just at the end of the day, I just don't know how much Los Angeles is going to stop them unless like this secondary is all of a sudden back and J.C. Jackson, Asante Samuel, Derwin James, all those guys are good to go, and all of a sudden we're fine. I have a lot of questions about that defense for Los Angeles, and this might be the best offense in football. So I think this is a bad matchup for Week 1.
Yeah, I mean, this should be a high scoring game, right? I mean, and that's
Mhm.
got to be the Chargers. Their mindset to win it is, throw the ball effectively. We'll see what Quentin Johnson can do. I'm very excited to see this Chargers team. I don't think it's crazy at all that the Chargers could find a way to win, without with the Ramsey injury as it stands right now. I think it's totally within the realm of possibilities. I just think that I don't know how they're going to stop this Dolphins offense. I think this could be the game of the week, to be honest, in terms of just entertainment value.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, how many of these games did Miami have that were highly entertaining?
Yeah, like all
So
of them.
yeah,
Until Tua got down and they were going, winning games 9-6 at the end of the year.
yeah, exactly. So I think this could be really intriguing. I just think at the end of the day, Miami's got just a little too much firepower. Now, maybe this Chargers offense is just ready to go, and everything kind of just works immediately, which would be awesome because I'm ready. I'm ready to see a big Herbert season. But I think the matchup's still too far in Miami's favor. I also am, I think their defense could be able to have, you know, maybe not a lot of success, but some success with they're healthy this season, which is the first thing that kind of killed the defense last year. But this whole Vic Fangio defense against this Chargers offense, I think they should have success in that boat. So yeah, I mean, I'm taking the Dolphins just by that metric, and maybe the Chargers still put some drives together and get like 28, but I could see Dolphins score starting with a 4. So I just think that's a tough matchup.
Yeah, and we'll see the good old Tua versus Herbert debate in this one.
Yeah. Uh, all of a sudden, it's back alive.
Yeah, it's great. That's one of my favorite ones going.
Uh, it has been a remarkable turnaround for Tua now. Who is? Are we gonna wince a little the first time he gets hit?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
This is
crazy.
unrelated, but it still reminds me of when Alex Smith came back from his injury after that terrible injury, comes back and immediately the Rams blitzed him on the first play. It's like, hey, come on, guys, you don't blitz him on
Yeah,
the first. At least give him like a 4-man rush on the first play.
yeah. Send like 8. I could see that. Derwin
Yeah.
James just like. We'll
Okay. Well,
see.
let's
Yeah, well, let's move on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. All right, moving on. Let's do it here. San Francisco flying cross country to face Pittsburgh. Who you got?
I have the Niners. I'm actually a little surprised by this line. I think that we're talking about the Steelers as a potential playoff team. I think we're both pro Steelers here, but like the 49ers are a team that we're talking. I mean, you picked to win the Super Bowl, and I picked to make the conference championship. These are this is a team that has super high expectations, and I don't really see why. They would only be 2.5 point favorites. I think if I hadn't used my lock, this would be a candidate for a lock as well. Again, I like Pittsburgh. I think they're a quality team, and I guess the one thing I'm fascinated by is could this be like a good Deontay Johnson game? Going against the question marks in the Niners secondary that I really feel like have gone overlooked this offseason, but like it's San Francisco, you got to pick them.
Yeah, I am with you on that. I'm leaning San Francisco. The line feels like stinky to me. Like this feels like a trap. Um,
Uh-huh.
it's almost too good to be true. But I mean, the flying the cross country is not easy. You know, there are already some injuries as far as San Francisco goes, so maybe that plays a part in it. But at the same time, like I could also see them running for like 6 yards of carry in this game, honestly. So maybe that plays. I don't know. I just feel like that could be a huge part for their advantage. That being said, it also is like 6 months of prep time for Mike Tomlin for this game. Maybe he's like Batman, and with extra prep time, he's just even more unstoppable. So that could probably be where the Pittsburgh line comes from.
But I mean, extra time for Kyle Shanahan too. I mean, it's not like he's not he got it's not like that massive of a coaching mismatch or anything like that.
That's fair. Yeah, Kyle Shanahan's
Mhm.
awesome too. It'd
Yeah.
be great if this is definitely an elite coaching duo, going into week one. So I'm
Is
excited
this
for
is
that.
this the best coaching matchup of the week?
Uh, yeah, I guess so. I was trying to look real fast. Took me longer than I thought. Are you
You didn't
not?
prepare ahead of time your top five coaching matchups heading into this week?
Yeah, no, I didn't. You're not
Okay.
excited for Jonathan Gannon and Ron Rivera? Just want to make sure.
Ooh, that one's interesting. Here's the concern for if you're a Niners fan. What have we kind of talked about is like there's some offensive line issues, right? I think that's another
Uh-huh.
thing that got sort of overlooked. Uh, not the team you want to be going up against if you have offensive line issues. TJ Watt will be going up against, probably not Trent Williams in this game. There could be that's a potential way that you could have some, just some concerns.
Absolutely. This is a really hard team to kind of similar to Tennessee and what I said. It's a hard team to pass rush just because of the way they run the ball, use their play action, all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
But TJ Watt is an animal. I mean, I think I saw a stat today that he averages 0.9 sacks per game, which is the best in NFL history.
Hmm.
I mean, if you're doing a sack a game, that's pretty good. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that is a tough matchup. I agree. I mean, there are a few things you can kind of nitpick. There, like you said, you mentioned some of the secondary concerns. Both of their safeties are questionable as of right now, so we'll see. I mean, there are a few things you can kind of nitpick for San Francisco going into this game. It's early in the season. Yeah, I mean, you can have some questions going in week one. I guess the big thing is like if the secondary is fine, how does Pittsburgh move the ball? Unless this is the George Pickens breakout season and it starts week one and he's going off, you know, where do they manufacture the yards and the points in this game?
Yeah. I think that they need to win on the outside if they're going to have a chance in this one. Last question before we move on. Gun to your head. You're starting an NFL team. I don't know why
Huh.
there's a gun to your head, but you're starting an NFL team. Get to pick one: Kenny Pickett or Brock Purdy. Who are you taking?
Brock.
Okay, yeah, I looked at my quarterback rankings. I actually had them only one spot ahead. I think it's an interest. I had Purdy one spot ahead. Although I feel like now I'm kind of leaning Kenny Pickett. But yeah, you could argue either one. They're both good young players. I'm interested in seeing what they'll do.
Yeah. Yeah, there's an excitement for both of them. Obviously, I think it's gonna be fun how they progress in year two. Obviously, Brock had a lot of team success, and on-field success too. He played well in those games. And I think Pickett played better than some of the numbers pointed, and he also had a lot of team success. They went 7-2 down the stretch.
Yeah. The Steelers fans in the chat not happy with that answer. Hey Kyle, where would you rank TJ Watt in your edge rankings? Number one, right? Obviously number one.
Uh, Heaven forbid I put him third best edge rusher in the NFL. It's okay.
Oh man. Let's move on before we get you in too much more trouble. I'm gonna give you a game here, and again, I let's go here. Let's go Buccaneers Vikings. I'm gonna be a homer here and say why 6 points feels a bit high for a team that has real defense issues. I don't know. I think that there's a chance Tampa Bay pulls off the upset. Where are you going, Kyle?
Uh, I am taking Minnesota. I don't love this. Like you said, I don't love this line as much as it seemingly Vegas does. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think that there is a chance that if Baker takes care of the football, like they have a massive, massive advantage on the outside. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are still on this team.
Yeah.
So they have a massive advantage on the outside compared to those Minnesota cornerbacks. But yeah, I mean, I need to see this again though with these guys, like, because I mean, it was just so bad with Todd Bowles for me,
Hmm.
um, and what this offense was doing last season. I know it's a new face at offensive coordinator, so I mean, even then, I'm still like, are they still gonna like run the ball up the middle 2 times and then try and throw it on 3rd and 7? Because
Yes. Yes, they
it
are.
was
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
well that then they might go 2-14, 2-15,
That also might
because
happen. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, look, I like those receivers, but like you struggled with that offense with Tom freaking Brady.
Hmm.
You're going to Baker Mayfield now. That's not going to work for a lot of quarterbacks, never mind bad ones. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a bit of a problem. I am interested in seeing Rashad White in this backfield. I think that could help. Not running Leonard Fournette all the time, but we already have Ryan Jensen out on this offensive line again. So yeah, I have concerns about this Tampa Bay offensive line, the play calling, the quarterback play. I just think that's way too much to overcome, especially week 1.
Yeah, I get it. I think the counter argument is the Vikings are currently, according to ourlads.com, Byron Murphy is the projected nickelback. Their two outside receivers right now are Mekhi Blackman and Caleb Evans, a third rounder and a fourth rounder. Those are the two projected
Mm-hmm.
outside corners going up against Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. That's if you're a Vikings fan, that's a concern.
That is a concern. It is a
Even if
concern.
they only throw it 20 times a game, that they could do some damage.
Yeah, Mike Evans could have a lot of success. I agree with you. I need to see what this offense is going to look like. I'm not as convinced that it's going to work just because they changed offensive coordinators. It's got to start from the head coach and willing to let this offense be successful. That being said, this Tampa Bay defense could keep this game close, and that's why I'd be afraid to bet -6
Hmm.
because I think -6 is scary when you're looking at this Buccaneers defense and just the way they play. The one thing is, if they're going to run the ball all the time and run the ball up the middle, they're going to waste some clock.
Yeah.
They're gonna so the clock is going to run. I think that's going to play a part in it. And they still have Jamel Dean, they still have Carlton Davis. Now, I still think they're at a disadvantage when it comes to Justin Jefferson,
Sure.
but it's not like those guys are scrubs. Like, they're good players. So I think, maybe Tampa Bay keeps this game close enough and steals it at the end. I think that's a possibility, but I'm still going to lean Minnesota.
Here's why it's smart to pick the Vikings to win, and then why I would also pick. I have them winning. Marcus Davenport and Neil Hunter going up against this Buccaneers offensive line. I'm nervous. I'm nervous for Baker.
Yeah. Outside of Tristan Wirfs, who is your
Yeah.
favorite Buccaneers offensive lineman?
Uh, Favorite Buccaneers. I'm still gonna pick Tristan Wirfs.
Cody Mock has some good hair.
Got some great hair. Definitely, we got good stuff there. Yeah, I don't know. I guess so we have Robert Hainsley center looked pretty solid last year in a small sample size. I
Okay.
don't know.
Luke Goedeke, year 2.
Did not look good preseason. Aaron Stinney. Aaron Stinney, because he was a backup guard and he came in, played the Super Bowl and looked solid in that game. So Aaron Stinney, for how he did in the Super Bowl. Hey, who knows? Who knew you could win a Super Bowl with a backup offensive lineman? I thought that only the Chiefs had injuries in the offensive line in that game. Let's move on, Kyle. I'm on a soapbox here.
All right.
Let's get me off of this game before we
All
start. We're here all night.
All right. Let's go Dallas at Giants.
Okay, another lock candidate for me. I got to pick the Dallas Cowboys, but like I don't know, aren't the Cowboys the exact team? Like once you think you know what they are, they do the opposite. It's like wouldn't this be the perfect like Giants find a way to win this one?
Yes. And that's kind of what the Giants did all last season, and it would be funny if they did it again. So
I don't get the Giants. I don't get the Giants. I just don't understand. They don't make sense to me. They have no. They're what they finished like 20th best in offense and defense last year, and still made the playoffs and won a playoff game. Like every advanced stat, every non-advanced stat says they shouldn't have been good last year. So I'm projecting them to not be good again. But like, who knows with this team?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, you have these rosters up, right? Where,
I can get it up.
yeah, I mean, I guess you have Dexter Lawrence and you have Saquon. Where do the Giants elsewhere have an advantage in this game
Well, Daniel Jones, of course.
against the Cowboys defense?
He's getting higher paid, isn't he? Or is he? Is he higher? Yeah, he's higher paid than Dak Prescott, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
So it's got to be the better player.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, but I did feel like there was this talent gap between the two teams last year, and I think the Giants kept both the games within a touchdown. So I don't know. Like it does feel kind of toss up to me in that regard, but I mean the Cowboys did have success against them last year by winning both of those games, so maybe they do it again. I do feel like they're just more talented, so I would lean Dallas too.
Yeah, and even like the best parts about this Giants team, like okay, would have a good defensive line, but like the Cowboys have a great offensive line. So it's like, is that
Hmm.
gonna they have Andrew Thomas, who's awesome, but they also have Evan Neal on the other side. What are we gonna get out of him? And also the Dallas Cowboys have an incredible pass rush. So on paper, I think this Cowboys team is really good. I don't know if they're championship quality, but I think that they're at the very least NFC this year championship contending. And so because of that, I just think that I think the talent is a significant step up. But again,
Yeah,
like we keep saying, a lack of talent has never stopped the Giants. The Giants won 2 Super Bowls without that much talent. They don't need talent to win in the
yeah,
NFL.
yeah. The, I feel like we could look back at the end of the year and say this Cowboys secondary. Why didn't we say this was the best secondary in football preseason? I mean, you
I
just
think
look at this.
I thought I might have. It's
Did
at
you
least
have a
up
number
there.
one? Yeah, I mean, you just look at this group with Gilmore and Diggs, where you know
Hmm.
both great. You got Curse, Wilson, Malik Hooker too. I mean, you throw in a couple other guys. I mean, there's not a lot of weaknesses there. Not a lot of guys to not a lot of guys to target for this young Giants passing game.
Yeah. We have a chat. Remember that McCarthy is calling the plays. Excellent point. I changed my pick. I'm picking. I have the Giants winning.
You actually want to change it?
No, I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. But you scared me a little bit with that comment. I won't lie. I did forget about that when I was making my pick.
Yeah, that is a fair point.
All right. Well, hey, NFL's happy that there's good teams in the NFC East.
Yeah, I mean, they were good last year. They were the best division by
Yeah.
wins.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. All 4 teams are, and we're happy because they're going to put them on primetime anyway. Might as well at least be interesting games.
yeah, exactly. So this should be a fun one. This is another game I'm looking forward to. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to just about all these games.
Yeah. Football's back. Well, what's not to look forward to?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Where you go
All right.
next?
Yes. It is my turn to give you a game. Let's see here. Why don't we? I'm wondering if there's. I'm trying to. I'm almost like playing like 4D chess. Wondering if there's one of the locks that you're maybe doing. So I'm gonna go a different one, but maybe I'm in my own head. I'm gonna give you Raiders Broncos. I think I know where you're going, but to me, the reason why I'm giving you this game is two teams that again feel like wild cards here. What kind of Denver Broncos team are we seeing? It's a game that I'm happy to not have to worry about.
I am gonna take the Broncos. I just feel a little better about them right now.
Hmm.
Maybe this Raiders team, some of these guys are better than we think, but I just don't see it right now. So I'm not looking forward to the Jimmy Garoppolo era. I've been pretty adamant on this Jimmy Garoppolo thing that I think away from Kyle Shanahan is not going to look good. And I don't think
Hmm.
it's going to look good starting week one. And he faced a good secondary. So I'm not looking forward to that. Uh, the one decent player on this the one great player on this Raiders defense is going against a good offensive line in Max Crosby. So like, yeah, I mean, I'm not I don't have a ton of expectations for Russell Wilson, but at the same time, like they should have success. Or at least a little bit of success against this Raiders defense. So I'm going with the Broncos in this one at home.
This is a dream for the Broncos. I think this is the dream of like it's not a terrible. Okay, maybe a dream would be the Texans or something. I don't know, but like going up against this secondary, that's exactly what you wanted. With the concerns you have with this offense and with Russell Wilson, and I still don't love this receiving core that the Broncos have. I think it's been a pretty overhyped one, but there's still some talent here. Going up against the Raiders, who did add Marcus Peters, that helps their secondary, but I still think this is a really weak secondary. And this is where Denver, if you can't get it done against this defense on paper, unless the Raiders happen to be better than we expected, if you can't get it done here, just pack it up.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Jerry Jeudy did return to practice today. That would have been kind of the big wrinkle too. So I don't know, that if he's not able to go, I'm a little more concerned because I don't love the receivers beyond him. I mean, I'm pretty sure they only have 3 more receivers on the roster. Maybe not. There's probably a few other guys, but at the same time, I don't love that receiving core beyond Jeudy. So I definitely need him to play to feel better about this. But at the same time, I still think they should have success just because this is not a great group. We've seen Marcus Peters struggle year to year, especially new system, not a lot of great talent around him. I'm not convinced he's a number 1 corner. I'm just not. I think Nate Hobbs is a decent slot guy, but that's about all you got from him. I don't think he's an outside guy. So yeah, I'm not convinced it's going to be a successful season for this defense.
So what's the way the Raiders win? It's got to be, they do have a lot of talent on offense, right? We talk about Josh Jacobs, Hunter Renfrow, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers. Don't know why I put Hunter Renfrow in front of Devontae Adams when speaking out, but regardless, they have plenty of talent on offense. I don't know. I don't think Garoppolo's. I'm higher on Garoppolo than you are, I suppose. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I think he's fine. I agree. I don't think that you're going to win a Super Bowl with him, paying him big money, unless you're San Francisco in a very unique scenario. But they also didn't win a Super Bowl with him. So I think that they're. I think that's maybe the way that you can have success is try to get something done offensively, and hopefully Russell Wilson still sucks.
Yeah, big Josh Jacobs game. Devontae's able to beat Pat Surtain a couple times, or however they decide to play that matchup. Stuff like that happens. Maybe we get a Michael Mayer appearance, but something like that. I do think this Raiders team has the potential to score, even though I don't love the offensive line. I think they have the potential to score. I just don't know if it's going to happen week 1 with these new pieces and this Broncos secondary put together. So, yeah, we'll see how that looks. But yeah, I mean, that's probably their pathways. They got to score some points.
Yeah, it seems like that might be always a good way to win a football game is to score some points. Kyle, why don't you give me a game?
All right, I'll give you this game. I don't love the line. I think it's weird. Or maybe I'm just got I don't even know how to describe it. But let's go Green Bay at Chicago.
Yeah, I was surprised Chicago was favored. When's the last time Chicago's been favored over Green Bay? I wonder. Maybe there was an Aaron Rodgers injury that allowed it to happen sometime, but feels like it's been in the Aaron Rodgers era. How often were even I guess? Well, it was probably the year that Matt Nagy's first year when they won 12 games. The Bears. I would assume that's the last time. But yeah, I'm picking Green Bay to win. I think that they're the more talented team, and I think that. Well, I guess it's a good pick, and maybe I should have given this to you earlier. I was worried you were going to lock up the Packers, so I decided not to. But because what are we getting out of Jordan Love? We talk about wild cards week 1. We just have no idea what to expect from a player who's never played really in the NFL before. He's played a little bit, but basically nothing. We're going to get to see him play here. Good situation. You have a great head coach, a great offensive play caller. You have some receiving talent. It's not great, but you do have some. Christian Watson looked very good last year, and you're playing against a team that should have a terrible defense, and that's the way that this should work. And that's kind of how I view this. It's a not great offense for Green Bay, but an okay one. They should be able to run the ball effectively, that kind of stuff. Good running backs, a couple good receivers, and then I think that their defense is, their defense versus the Bears offense. I still think that's a mismatch. I think that's in Chicago's favor. I just don't know if it's as much as the Packers offense over the Bears defense.
I'm with you on all that. I just about agree with everything you said. I am interested in what Jordan Love's able to do. Like you said, he should be able to take advantage of this secondary at minimum, and maybe a couple other guys from this Packers receiving corps start to step up a little bit this season. We'll see on that. But the intrigue of this game is definitely the Justin Fields experience and how has he developed. We've been waiting for this. We've been waiting for a breakout season for him. And then not to mention the improved receiving core they've given them to try and get that improvement, try and expedite that process. So how does that look? I think is going to be the biggest thing. Um, and I thought one of the interesting things last year when these two teams played, is kind of rare. Like they held Justin Fields under 100 yards in both of those games rushing.
Hmm.
In the week 2 game, they held Justin Fields to 8 carries for 20 yards and a touchdown, which is fantastic based on Justin Fields' production. Second game, he did a little better. He had 6 carries, 71 yards. But at the same time, they don't do it too bad of a job of trying to minimize his effectiveness, which is surprising because Green Bay couldn't stop the run on anybody last year. So are they able to contain Justin Fields again, slow him down? They had a lot of success against the Bears last year. I know it's not Aaron Rodgers anymore, but a lot of the reason they had success last year wasn't because of Aaron Rodgers. So I do like the Packers in this game.
I'm interested in this. What happens if this goes off the rails for Green Bay? What happens if Jordan Love just completely sucks right away? What do we do? We panic, right?
Mass hysteria. Yeah.
Yeah, I think mass hysteria.
We haven't seen a bad. Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen a bad Green Bay quarterback in like 30 years. Even when Aaron Rodgers got hurt, they had Matt Flynn for that little stretch, wasn't it? Then he signed with Seattle.
Yeah. What was it? Who was the when Rodgers got hurt again? There was, I forget who it was who came in and played. But
Wasn't it like Tim Boyle or something like that?
I think they have had Tim Boyle play, which is never a good idea. But no, it's someone else. It was I can't remember now. But someone in the chat remind me. It was the year that they. I think it was the same year that. No, what? I don't remember. But there was one year where I think that was Mike McCarthy's last year, if I remember correctly, when they ended up losing.
I think you're right.
They lost. Rodgers came back. They lost to Josh Rosen, and then McCarthy got fired. I don't know. No, it was the year before McCarthy. I remember it was the year before McCarthy got fired.
Brett Hundley. That's it. Okay.
That's it. Brett Hundley. Yep. That wasn't great.
Okay, that's fair. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I still think they're going to be okay. I just kind of have this gut feeling that they're going to be fine. I think this defense is going to bounce back too. And like I said, they had success last year against the Bears when they struggled against a lot of other teams. So I think if this defense bounces back, you get a better, you get a solid version of Jordan Love against a bad secondary. They should win this game.
Yeah. What also, there's so much room for funny things to happen in this. What if Jordan Love goes off, which is totally in the cards, right? With this, not great defense on paper. What if Jordan Love throws for like 400 yards in Chicago? Imagine that crowd. The crowd shots would be incredible. This is like a 41-5 game. 5. Why did you choose 5? 41-7 game.
Just like tears in every Chicago fan's like. It's like the Breaking Bad meme where he can't keep getting away with this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's poor Bears fans.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But maybe it's a new era. Maybe it's now the Justin Fields era of the NFC North, and he goes nuts.
I'll say poor Bears fans, except for that one Bears fan that sent me death threats because I didn't like Justin Fields. That one, I'm glad that he has to suffer, or she.
Yeah. That was that's harsh. Be nicer, people. Mm-hmm. Come on now.
Yeah, I think that you don't need to do that. Kyle, I'm giving you your team. Eagles, Patriots. Where are you going?
I hate to do it. I have to take the Eagles just because. I mean, they're really freaking good. I wouldn't be. I mean, the line's 4, so it's not like it's that disrespectful. I wouldn't be surprised if this game's close, just because I'm interested to see what this New England defense looks like. They really emphasized a lot more speed on the field this year, and I think it has a chance to be a really good defense. The one thing I will say going into this matchup is they really struggled against mobile quarterbacks last year. It was their biggest weakness. They haven't been good against Josh Allen in some time, except for when it's like, insane wind. They haven't been good. They weren't good against Lamar Jackson last year. They weren't good against Justin Fields last year in that embarrassing Monday night game. You go down the list. Every time they play, they gave up 37 points to Baltimore. They gave up 33 to Chicago. Buffalo always kind of has their way with them. I think the mobile quarterback thing has become a problem with New England. And Jalen Hurts is pretty mobile. Breaking news.
Yeah,
he is very athletic. So I'm interested to see how that looks because they like I said, they've been emphasizing getting faster on defense. They brought in, Marte Mapu has got some preseason hype. They've got some guys there that they've been interested in kind of deploying. Keon White's a first, second round pick. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But that being said, the Eagles are still too freaking good. They just made the Super Bowl. They won a bunch of games. The only thing is that they lost Javon Hargrave on that defense. Obviously, he was great, and a couple guys in the secondary. But they bring in Jalen Carter, who might be the best defensive player of the draft. I think they're too good. And even if New England's able to keep this close and respectable, Eagles are better.
And they added Nolan Smith too, another first rounder for Philadelphia. You mentioned Keon White. I love the preseason stuff, like how hot takey everyone gets because you get local broadcasters. And I remember he did something in one of the games, and I just remember one of the commentators saying Bill Belichick has a way of getting players in late rounds to succeed, and now he's done it again with Keon White. I don't know if it's fair to say he's already done it again because he did one nice play in the preseason. I think that might be a bit of a leap there. But
not to mention, he was second round. Is that late round now?
Yeah, so, I don't. No, right, yeah, pick 40. He was still a top 50 pick last year. But yeah, so here's how the Patriots win this game: is they're going to run the ball a lot. The Eagles kind of had the mindset last year of we're seeing a lot of these analytically inclined teams do. Don't put a lot of emphasis on stopping the run. Let teams run on you. They didn't go full Brandon Staley. You never want to go full Brandon Staley, but they, put an emphasis on stopping the pass. They shut down the pass. This is a football team that has won a game in recent memory, only throwing the ball 3 times. That's not a great strategy, but it is a way that they can potentially win football games, is to run the ball effectively. That's what they're going to try to do here. And I think that, limit possessions, make this an 8-possession game. I think that's the mindset. And again, force Jalen Hurts to have to make some off-script stuff. I'm not betting on it. In fact, I would bet on Eagles even -4, but I can see how it can go the other way.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think they can do all that though. I don't think they can go full on into that. It'll be interesting just how.
I'm not saying only throw 3 times. Yeah. I'm just saying run the ball a lot.
Right, but I mean that was kind of the game plan for that. That Washington upset last year. You don't have a lot of Eagles losses last year to draw from, but that was kind of their game plan heading into that one. I am interested to see what this offense looks like. Just having someone with the brain calling plays really helps. That's usually should be priority number 1. And so now we have a guy who seemingly has a brain calling plays, so that'll help. I'm just interested to see what, actual game script looks like. I haven't seen that in a year, so that'll be nice too. But all jokes aside, I am kind of interested in seeing this receiving core too. Kendrick Bourne's now allowed to play football again, which is nice. Juju Smith-Schuster, I thought was a good offseason signing. You get Mike Gesicki. I think we're going to see more 2 tight end sets for this Patriots team, which will be fun again. There's been a lot of preseason hype for Demario Douglas and Kayshon Boutte. Not as optimistic in them week 1. And then, I just think we've seen Darius Slay and James Bradbury have down seasons. These aren't guys who are year after year all pro corners. So, all of that put together, can New England find a way to attack this Philadelphia defense a little bit? I think it's possible. I don't think it's something I'm betting on. I think they could just be okay and have some success, but it's just not enough to keep up with this other team.
Kyle, what's the passer rating that McCorkle could have that makes you feel good in this game? What are you hoping for? If you had to pick a line of above that you're happy, below it I just picked a catch-all stat. But how would you feel?
I don't know, probably 90.
So if he does 91, you're like he's back.
I don't know if I'm saying he's back. I don't base anything off passer rating though. I would need to just see.
Well, I mean, in a scenario where he earned a passer rating, it was an effective. Yeah. I just figured that's a stat everyone knows.
Yeah, I think that's fair. If he's 91, I feel good. So we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, year 2 did not look so good. Another guy who's gotten some preseason hype, a lot of good training camp buzz from Mac Jones. So maybe that plays a part. But I think he's got to not only rebuild the trust of his coaching staff, but I think of the fan base too. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
I didn't realize his passer rating was. He had an 84.8 passer rating last year. I didn't realize it was that rough.
Yeah, a lot
He
of
only had a 90.
screens.
He only had a 90 above 90 passer rating four times last year.
Yeah, there was. I think we led the league in screen passes that went for 2 yards. I don't think that stats tracked, but if
Tampa
it
Bay was
was,
pretty
we would be
close.
number one.
We had to be
Yeah.
around there.
Yeah, I'm just hoping for better. So we'll see. But it I could see this game being low scoring. There's also like the added emphasis that this is like Tom Brady Day for New England. Like he's supposed to be there, and they're doing like a whole
Oh,
Ring of Honor ceremony. So I mean, this crowd's going to be fired up, So this is going to be a whole another emphasis to it, but it's not favorable to play the Eagles week one with this
yeah.
roster. So
Yeah, that's tough. I didn't know it was Tom Brady. I'd probably pick. I'll flip my pick to Patriots winning now. Kyle, give me a game.
all right, what's next on my list here? Don't love the selections here. Jacksonville and Indianapolis.
Yeah, four games think we feel pretty confident are going to go in a specific way. A little surprised the Colts get this favorable of a line, even at home, only being 4.5 point underdogs. I'm obviously picking Jacksonville to win. This is another one that I would have considered locking up for Jacksonville. Like, listen, I've kind of, I don't know, been a mild Jaguars hater, not like a massive one, but like I thought you and I both have kind of been like, let's pump the brakes a little bit on some of this hype. Although we both also picked them to win the division, as did, more people picked the Jaguars in the community tab to win the division than any other division, any other team in any other division. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm interested in seeing what the Colts will do. I just feel like Richardson's going to take some time. Anthony Richardson is going to
Yeah.
take some time to develop. And the Jaguars have defensive players who should be able to come in and play well. I think there's a lot of intrigue in this game. It's definitely one I'm going to be watching, maybe even live on Sunday, to really just see how these young players play. What's Trayvon Walker like? What's Richardson like? But I just think this is going to take some time for Indianapolis.
I agree. I thought about locking this game up. I resisted a little bit just because, the one thing we did talk about was this Jacksonville pass rush. Like, there's a chance Anthony Richardson's able to just run ballistic on this team, right? Like, I don't think he's going to throw on the secondary at all. But if they can't get to him, he's a guy who can get a 70-yard touchdown on any play by running it. He's that level of an athlete. So I think that's the concern. But at the same time, I really don't think they're going to be able to throw the ball. And there's also just the whole vibes factor where your owner just publicly shamed your running back and now he's not playing.
Right.
How is any Colts fan excited for this season? I guess Richardson's the one thing you're excited.
That's
the
exciting.
Richardson thing is exciting, but we all knew he was a project quarterback and your best player just got shunned by your owner. And your owner is kind of an idiot to begin with. So I just don't know how you get excited for this.
What do you mean? Anthony Richardson's one of the most exciting players to watch in football.
There's too many bad vibes. I don't love bad vibes. This is a vibes pick. I think the Colts are going to stink. So I'm out on this season already. The season hasn't started, and I'm out.
I don't know. Got a decent offensive line.
No.
I'd say good offensive line. No, you don't think even...
Sure, it's a decent offensive line, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know. I don't love the vibes. The vibes don't check. The vibes aren't immaculate in Indianapolis, and I don't like it.
They have Matt Gay as a kicker, the worst person to ever live.
This is your arch nemesis.
Yeah, misses every single field goal in Tampa Bay, and then kicks the game winner against the Rams against us in the divisional round. They deserve to lose every game.
You're with me then. All right. 0-17 Indianapolis Colts.
I'm just saying I would be pumped up if I'm a Colts fan. When you're a bad team, all you want is a quarterback to have hope in. That's all you care about. And Richardson's going to give you plays to have hope. There's going to be a game this year where if you're a Colts fan, you're like, we have a superstar. There's also going to be 7 where you're like, what? Why is the guy in the league? But you're not going to pay attention to those games because you're a fan.
Yeah, I don't know, man. He had those flashes in college, and I'm still buying into those flashes. I'm with you. But at the same time, this guy's basically started 14 college game. I don't know how you barely play in college, then you're going to go to the NFL and start week 1. That seems like a recipe for disaster.
LeBron James didn't even play any college, and he worked out okay.
A little bit different.
I don't think it is. Same thing. Let's move on. Why don't we? Unless you got any other final thoughts.
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. The 3 games left. 3 games in order of closest line to biggest line are Rams at Seahawks, Cardinals at Balls, and then Texans at Ravens. And these feel like 3 slam dunk picks that I don't think are really going to go the other way. But I'll give you one who I'll give you Rams Seahawks, which I wasn't going to, but just looking at the other two, which I don't know. Rams still have Stafford. Are we going to see a McVay masterclass? You have the Cooper Cup injury. I don't know. Aaron Donald's back. Could we see Seattle? Maybe the young players aren't quite ready just yet. And the Rams are a team that can have had hot starts in the past. I'm assuming you're picking Seattle here, though.
Yeah, I'm locking Seattle.
Okay.
I was a little interested in this Rams team earlier in the offseason, but now I'm just greatly concerned. Like, this is one of those teams that, like, you start hearing about what's happening and it just seems like a disaster is about to unfold. Like, it's like seeing the car swerving down the road and you just know an accident's about to happen. Like, Cooper Kupp's already not playing. There is zero exciting prospects on this offense besides Stafford. Exciting players on this offense besides Stafford. Maybe Aaron Donald just kind of wrecks this game and that makes it interesting. But no, Seattle's going to score a bunch of points. Seattle's going to win this game by multiple touchdowns. I don't see a scenario where the Rams win this without Cooper Kupp. This is a team that was already built on star talent, and they already lost one of their basically 2 stars. So I just don't see how they win this game. So give me Seattle in the lock.
Yeah, not a bad lock. I agree. I'm with you. What? You're not a big Tyler Higbee fan?
No.
Not ready for the Cam Akers show to take over?
No, I actually think Zach Evans might end up starting by the end of the season. We'll see, though. Although Akers did have a solid end of the year, so we'll see. But yeah, I mean, Higbee's fine. I mean, he drops like every 4th ball, but he's fine. I mean,
no, I'm joking. You're right. There's some players who are solid players, but there's no Stafford's the only guy who really gets you excited on the Rams offense.
Is there legitimately one player on this offense, offensive line, wide receiver, tight end, running back, quarterback, that is a top 10 player at his position? Not accounting Cooper Kupp, who's out.
Right. I mean, if we're splitting right tackles and left tackles, I think Rob Havenstein, you can make an argument for. But that would probably be it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And on the defense, outside of Aaron Donald, is there who's the next guy you're really excited about?
John Johnson III.
Yeah, but I mean, I just don't know, man. It's rough. Great. It's this. I'm not like this team might actually like challenge for the number 1 pick. What if Stafford's elbow isn't right anymore? What if it's just over for him?
Yeah,
like this. No, it's going to be like a 1 or 2 win team.
Yeah, they're in a tough spot, and Seattle should be good. I mean, we're talking about them as a team that I think we said like their ceiling is a Super Bowl contender in the NFC. Like that's if everything hits, like that's how good they could be this year. But you got to prove it. You got to show it, and a great prove it game here.
Yeah. We'll see what year 2 Geno looks like. I think we were still both pretty high on him. And this is still a good offense around him. You got Jackson Smith and Jigba and Zach Charbonnet added to the skill position corp. So they're pretty deep at every position. I mean, there's not a lot of weaknesses outside of this offensive line if it's not 100% ready. But, I mean, I still like Abraham Lucas and Charles Cross. So I think they're going to be ready sooner than we think.
Yeah, I agree. 2 games left. Give me one.
Houston at Baltimore.
Okay, interesting. Did not go with the one with the closer spread. I am obviously picking Baltimore to win, and I agree. I had this one higher on my list as well. this Ravens team is a team that we're talking about as a potential championship contender. I mean, this is a team that,
Hmm.
I believe I can't remember. I believe I had them finishing third in the AFC. I think that they should be a team that definitely their ceiling is incredibly high. Their floor is incredibly high. Barring a Lamar Jackson injury, this is the team that has the most weapons they've had in the Lamar Jackson era. They should have, I think, a great offensive line. I think a really underrated offensive line. I
Hmm.
had it as an elite tier offensive line. Should be an offense that is challenging for the number 2 offense in football. I don't think it's going to beat Kansas City. I'm not expecting anyone to beat Kansas City, but it should be challenging for number 2. There's some secondary concern issues with this team. Now is not the time I'm concerned about it. Against Houston,
Yeah.
I just don't think Houston's going to be able to take advantage of that. I'm very fascinated in seeing what CJ Stroud can do. But usually when you get a great head coach, a great well-coached team like the Ravens always are in the John Harbaugh era, usually rookie quarterbacks kind of have a tough time there. We talked about
Yeah.
Stroud as a bit more of a project guy. I think he'll show some flashes in this game, but as a whole, I'm not expecting much from him. I think Houston's interesting, but to be honest, I think I would go Ravens minus 10 in this one. I think I would pick them even to cover.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. The only reason I had it higher was because I think down basically what, 3 corners already, and Tyus Bowser. I mean, there's enough there to like give me some pause with Baltimore's defense. But and maybe it just makes it a little easier on Stroud and he plays pretty well. But even then, I think a pretty good Stroud game means they lose like 35-20.
Yeah, right.
So uh, you know, that's kind of where I'm looking at it. I'm interested, the one thing I am interested in, and I think it's a pretty good test for week one. We talked about this Ravens pass rush having some question. We've been waiting for Adafe Owe to kind of break out. David Ajabo's now healthy. This is a pretty good Texans offensive line. It's probably the one strength of this team is they've invested in this group with Tunzel, with Mason, with George Fant, that kind of thing. So, like, that is at least something to kind of get excited about. And like, how is that Ravens pass rush that we have some questions match up with that group? Can they get after Stroud a little bit?
Although I'm not sure if you heard, because the news broke today, Titus Howard's now been on he's been put into IR. So
Oh, crap.
that's,
Never mind.
yeah. So, right. I know you've been traveling today, but yeah. So, that hurts things.
Yeah, that would hurt a little. I still don't think it's a bad offensive line. I mean, it's still not
Uh-huh.
great now. It's not great now, but or not good now. But I mean, at the same time, Kenyon Green, I guess, is on the IR too, so maybe that helps him.
Yeah. So that's a benefit. Yeah. You got that going for you. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's still, I think they actually have some depth at the top. Like George Fant is going to step in. It's not like they have,
Yeah.
that's not a disaster there, but it does hurt things.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I mean, outside of that though, like there's just not a lot. There's not really a way like Texans run the ball, control the clock, but even then, like the the run defense of the Ravens is good. So I don't even think it's like even though I like Damian Pierce,
Mhm.
I just don't know if it's going to be enough to really make this game interesting. So yeah, I
And
mean,
let's just be honest. This is the game that the Ravens win 55-3, and everyone says, "Oh my God, the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl."
yeah, we're going to get excited week one, and we
We've
should
seen
be
this story
excited because
before.
I am excited to see this receiving core week one, even if it's a bad secondary. We haven't seen Lamar with receivers. I want to see him go out there and throw the ball around. I want to see him throw the ball 30, 35 times in this game. Why not? Who cares? You're going to win. Go and throw the ball around, use these receivers, and make it fun.
Yeah, I agree. Final game, one I'm giving you: Cardinals at Balls. Balls, of course, are the Washington football team. Ends up, who would have thought the Washington football team is the team that ends up being the last picked to win? I'm assuming you're picking them to win here, Kyle.
Yeah, pretty good stuff for them. Picking a second year quarterback making his first NFL start as the last team too. Uh, yeah, I mean, there's some questions for Washington. Um, you know, I have some concerns for this team. I think that they could be good. I also think they could be really bad. Like just depending on how like Sam Howell performs and do any of these other skill guys besides Terry McLaurin get a little bit better or take a step forward? There's a chance that they're bad. But this Arizona team, man, oh my goodness. Like it's cringeworthy looking at this roster. Like we did a auction fantasy draft. Not a single I had to double check. Not a single Cardinals player was taken for more than $5. in an auction draft.
Uh-huh.
James Conner went for $5, which
Okay.
maybe was a little cheap, but at the same time, like I don't know what you get excited for with this group. There's not a lot of talent. Maybe this secondary could be okay, but at the same time, like I worry about these corners.
I wouldn't bet on
And
it.
yeah, McLaurin should be able to have a field day on these corners. So, I have a lot of concerns.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one thing is like, okay, there are, Washington is starting a fifth round pick in this one as their quarterback, right? Like that's kind of the one thing you do look at if you're Arizona and say, somehow they might have the quarterback advantage with Josh Dobbs projected to be the starter.
They very well could. I mean, Josh Dobbs, filled in admirably for that Tennessee team. So maybe that plays a part in it, but it's I just they don't have an advantage anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, because Kyler's obviously banged up right now. So, like, who's the best player? Is Marquise Brown the best player on this team?
I hope not. Yeah, I guess so.
Well, Buda Baker's one.
Oh yeah, on defense it's Baker. I thought you
Mm-hmm.
were only talking offense. So
But is Hollywood
you
Brown the
could.
second best player on this team? I think you can make an argument.
Yeah, I might take Jalen Thompson,
I don't know. I
which
mean, I guess
isn't
like
saying a
Kelvin
lot.
Beachum, DJ Humphreys, like these are the guys you consider. Yeah, I guess both safeties. Kaiser White. Over the middle coverage could be okay.
Over the middle coverage, I agree.
Good thing
Um,
Washington doesn't have any good outside receivers.
right. Yeah, that Terry McLaurin guy is okay.
Yeah, yeah, and Jahan Dotson, your guy, he could have a big game in this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not optimistic for this Arizona team. I get the feeling they're going to be picked last a lot for us this season. So not looking forward to it.
Yeah. Apparently, there's Cardinals fans in the chat who are excited. Well, good. Be excited. I don't want to. Who knows? Weirder things have happened. We thought Seattle was going to be terrible last year, and look at what happened.
Yeah, I mean there is a possibility for it. I don't see it, but I guess it is a possibility. I think you'll probably be watching Caleb Williams highlights by week 4, but crazier things have happened.
Yeah. I still don't think they're gonna. I don't know. They're kind of locked in with Kyler though.
Yeah, I would still take him. I don't know.
I think either take him or yeah, you could either then trade Kyler or trade the pick. But either way, you're excited.
Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's reason to be excited about the future. I thought they had a good draft, but and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's gonna take some time for some of these younger guys to be good. Maybe we get a big Trey McBride game. I thought he was a guy who was really talented
Yeah.
in 2022. Younger tight end in year 2, so maybe that's an interesting guy. We've been waiting for the Rondale Moore breakout, but I just think it's going to take some of these guys some time. I like BJ Ojolari. I think he's going to take some time though too. He's kind of a speed rusher.
Sorry, my headphones have been giving. Usually I use the plugged-in headphones, but today I couldn't find them, so you grabbed the. Sorry, I'm giving you a little bit of trouble, but I'm back now. Go ahead. I just missed that last part.
No, you're good. I just said, there are some intriguing young players, whether it's Trey McBride, Paris Johnson, obviously, is a first-round pick. I think BJ Ojolari is an interesting player. There are some interesting guys here. I just think it's going to take some time for some of these younger players.
Yeah, we have a Cardinals fan in chat saying we have an advantage at every other position, and then saying you guys don't know anything about the Cardinals. So again, people are excited.
Maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're
don't
wrong.
sleep on Gannon.
I am fast asleep on that one, but maybe I'm wrong on that too.
We'll see. Yeah. It's fascinating. What's happening with them. Listen, I'm excited what the Cardinals are going to do in the future. But yeah, could be a fun game if you're a Washington fan. Dan Snyder's out. Vibes are high for Washington.
The balls are up. Balls are bouncing.
Balls are bouncing. What a way to end the first Pick'em show, Kyle. Will this be the year that you break the streak? Like a very Cubs-esque streak here that you're ready to break.
I am going to break it. Too many shots on this week 1 podcast. Bad vibes from you.
Listen,
you
what's
got
the
a
Cam
very
Newton thing? If you don't like me dancing, stop me. If you don't like me bragging about my wins, beat me.
you got some Jim Irsay energy to you right now. I'm coming for you.
Are you the Jonathan Taylor in this scenario?
Yes, I am.
I don't know if either of us are
Are
Jonathan Taylor
winners
in
in
this
this?
scenario.
Yeah, I don't know if
Hmm.
any of us are winners in this scenario. That's for sure. So, all right, let's get out of here.
Yes, let's get out of here again. Kyle, let them know where to find us on Twitter before we head out.
Make sure to follow us on Twitter. That is at Jackson Kruger. Make sure to follow me at by Kyle Gronin, and make sure to follow the account page at On the Sideline JK. That's at On the Sideline JK.
Yeah, if you like audio only podcast, anywhere you get your podcast, on the sideline podcast, search that because we are going to be we record late on the Sunday. This Sunday, we're going back to 2 days a week. So Sunday at midnight Eastern will be our next show, recapping every game that just happened. So watch that live here on the YouTube channel, or just listen after the fact on the podcast feed. This is going to be our typical time now, 9 Eastern on Wednesday. So this is how it's going to work: 9 Eastern on Wednesday, midnight Eastern, right after football Sunday. So it's good stuff. We have we have football.
We have football. Looking forward to it. Let's get after it, and everybody enjoy their teams. Everyone can be optimistic today. Everybody has a shot to win the Super Bowl. So be
Yes, everyone's
optimistic. Be
undefeated.
excited. Go Patriots. Patriots by 30 this weekend. Looking forward to it.
Yes. This should be we have a Cardinals defense going to dominate Sam Howell. So we'll talk Tuesday, guys. Hey, if you're right, feel free to come into the show and brag about it. That's part of the fun.
Sunday at midnight. We will be here whether we are right on all these or wrong on all these. So
Yeah,
be ready.
and you know that given how our takes went last year. What was it? Last year or 2 years ago that we just missed everything? I think it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, we had some. I think it was like week 1 and 2. We were awful, and then we actually recovered and did pretty well. But we were just wrong on everything week 1 and 2. So,
and I believe in the divisional round we went 0-8 combined.
Yeah, that happens. Not really, but it happens.
Yeah, it is what it is. Again, thank you to everybody for watching or listening. We do appreciate it. Kyle, any final thoughts?
Looking forward to week 1. Looking forward to football. It's going to be a fun time of year.
Yeah. All right. Well, yes, will be fun time. Again, thank you. We appreciate it. And until next time, have a good one.
Peace.